time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod. I'm your host, Josh, and we are taking a look at the Star Wars Andor trailer, which just dropped not too long ago. It was, what was this, 4 days ago as of this recording, and the show launches on Disney Plus September 21st, and we're all really excited for that. But let's take a look at this brand new trailer for Andor with our co-host Blake. Let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
To steal from the Empire? To just walk in like you belong? They're so proud of themselves, so fat and satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house.
Cassian Andor. The Empire is choking us so slowly. We're starting not to notice. What I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real? I need all the heroes I can get.
For the greater good.
Call it what you will.
Let's call it war.
There's fermenting out there, son. Pockets of fermenting.
You're in my net. Are you a fish? Or are you a thief? You're slipping.
I'm not slipping. I've just been hiding for too long.
As long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
This is what revolution looks like.
I'm tired of losing.
Dude, I gotta say that that sound design is amazing. Like the music,
With the music?
the sound effect.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, including the alarm, like the alarm that happens at the very end. You know, it's kind of symbolic of the original Rogue One trailer, and we just took a look at all those trailers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see them trying to do some callbacks to Rogue One, trying to get everyone, refamiliarized, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, man, it doesn't feel like it, but it has been a hot minute since that movie came out.
Yeah. It's been what has it been now? Like what? 6 years?
2016? 2016 was it? Yeah.
So 7. Yeah, 6 years. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a little bit.
Crazy?
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
I know. It doesn't feel like it at all.
Yeah.
Because they still say, what's your favorite Disney Star Wars movie? I would say Rogue One.
Yeah, it's still Ben's favorite Star Wars movies, Rogue One, and I've met a few people who Rogue One is actually their favorite Star Wars movie. So
Included, like, of the entire saga you're talking.
yeah, like the entire Star
Oh,
Wars
really?
saga is their favorite Star Wars movie. Yeah, so Andor is just one of those. It's a prequel show to that film, and from what the director has said, the second season's gonna just lead kind of straight into Rogue One, into that opening scene, which is gonna be really sweet. Now I don't really know what opening scene he's talking about because the opening scene is technically a flashback way earlier than when that movie and this show take place. So I assume that he's probably talking about the scene where Cassian Andor has to shoot that guy in the gut, the spy, the dude who's got the
in Rogue
information.
One.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he
Yes.
ditches him and climbs over that wall.
Exactly. Yeah. So I assume he's talking about that scene, on the Ring of Caffrine is where that location is. So that's going to be really, really cool.
So you think this series is going to go right up into like that part? It's going to maybe explain more of what's happening in that scene.
Yeah. So this show, I believe it takes place I want to say 5 years before Rogue One, and the second season, there's a bit of a time jump, and then the second season's gonna kind of lead into Rogue One directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like that was the same Rebel base as Rogue One.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know what? Let's pull it up and just kind of go through shot by shot because going through this thing, there's a lot of like little cool pieces here and there which I'd love to bring up. Let me just hold on a second here. What's the one thing that you noticed like about that whole trailer?
Oh,
Anything stick
I
out?
noticed a bunch of stuff. Well, the first thing to bring up, because we were just talking about him, is Saw Gerrera, because I know
Oh yeah.
you had already seen the trailer when we did the Saw Gerrera breakdown, but I hadn't watched this trailer yet because I was saving it for this. That was my first watch.
Oh,
First time
awesome.
watching this. Everything is fresh.
Everything's fresh. Awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. We actually saw Gerrera, and I'm wondering, it obviously was Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, obviously Forrest Whitaker.
And I think that's just him. I don't think they DH'd him or anything. I just clicked on the scene here. It said 1 minute 13 seconds.
And
he's got a scar on his face. Is that new?
That's that I think showed up around the time of the Bad Batch, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it must have happened in the late part of the Clone Wars.
Okay, I'm pulling up his character from Rogue One, and I do not see a scar on his face. So this might be a retcon.
Really?
Or it's far more subtle, possibly.
Okay, I'm just looking at a picture of him from the Bad Batch, and he's got a scar over his. So if you're looking at him, it's across his right cheek and over his left eye, and cutting through his eyebrow a little bit. In Rogue One, he does have a scar there. It looks like, but it's a lot more.
Okay, yeah. It's so way more subtle.
I think it's because his wrinkles are kind of. His skin's a lot looser, right? In Clone Wars, he does also have a scar, but it's only above his eyebrow and not on the cheek side.
Yeah, it's more of an Anakin scar.
And in Rebels, he also has a scar there, but due to the art style, it's not as apparent. But there is a scar that's on his face there in Rebels.
So they've just made it way more prominent. So it must be more fresh, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess maybe it's just an added to version of the one that he had in Clone Wars. A small retcon, if any, maybe. I mean, not to say that it's two scars that maybe just conjoin at the nose or whatever. Like, that's also possible.
I would say this new scar is more accurate to what we saw in Rebels.
Right. Yeah, so the Bad Batch, if you look up Saw Gerrera Bad Batch, the scar that goes across his cheek and then across his eyebrow looks most close to this in the animated forms. And then I'm assuming Rebels, his Rebels appearance probably comes after the events of Andor, so that's gonna be.
Yes.
All right, so
the
let's.
scar's way more apparent in Bad Batch. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So let's start off with the opening here because this is where we start in a beautiful location, just like on the grassy mountainside of some place.
I was
And
wondering if that's the planet that Ray hides, not Ray, Jin hides on, and her parents have a little homestead.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's also a slight chance that it could be the native home to Cassian Andor as well, because I see some small people walking on the hillside, and I don't believe that they are. Oh yeah, there's a close up of them in the next shot. There's a close up of them. There's a blonde woman with a staff, and a small kid in a poncho, and
That does have the same hair color as Cassian.
yeah, and it's possible that could be a younger version of him. Maybe where this show starts off could be a very much a flashback sequence similar to Jin's young childhood flashback sequence in Rogue One. Maybe what we're looking at here is Cassian Andor's kind of origin story. We see TIE fighters flying in the background in the far distance there, approaching the mountainside. And then the following shot is, man, that machine gun looks insane. That looks like, okay, what do you think of that machine gun right there? It looks like an AK-47, doesn't it?
It is, yeah, it looks just like an AK-47. That doesn't look like Star Wars at all.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just stuck out to me a lot. I was like, dang, it's like they
I
just
don't
picked that
like
off the
that.
rack. You don't like
Yeah,
it at
they
all?
just painted it black. No, because that doesn't look like Star Wars. That just looks like any modern action movie.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Half expecting machete to drop out of the trees or whatever.
Yeah, Star Wars guns are always boxy and clunky,
Yeah.
or blasters, I should say.
Something about these huts is they're very, very primitive looking. It's almost like the culture that exists here. I don't imagine they don't have a lot of tech, a lot of technology.
Yeah, like the Mandalorian fishery when they're all fishing for shrimp.
Exactly, yeah. Which makes me wonder whether or not the gun he's holding is actually a laser gun or not. Whether or not it fires plasma.
Blaster bolts.
Blaster bolts, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. You think it might be a projectile weapon?
Yeah,
or
I'm
an
thinking
actual
it could be slugs, similar to how the Tusken Raiders have those cycler rifles. They shoot slugs as well. Following shot.
Time will tell.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, time will tell. Following shot, we got a girl with some big metal contraption thing. I can't really tell what that is. Can you? It looks like a.
I think it's a speeder bike of some sort. At
Yeah, it looks like there's some handlebars.
least by the
there.
handles.
Right. Looking up at something, probably the TIE fighters.
No, it's the next scene. She's looking at the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So behind
that's a cool shot. The Star Destroyer flying in
Ooh, yeah.
atmosphere,
That is really
moving
cool.
really fast. Considering
is
how
going really
massive that
fast.
thing is.
Yeah. I guess it's using sublight engines just fully across the atmosphere like that.
Yeah,
It's pretty insane.
reminds me a bit of a fan film I think I saw once.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also being escorted by some TIE fighters that look like tiny little specks in scale. That is one beautiful shot. Okay, we get the chrome Star Wars logo, and then look at this. We get a shot of what looks like
The
a
mines of
mining
Kessel?
facility. Yeah, it looks like a mining facility. I don't know if it's Kessel just because the atmosphere is not yellow, but it does look like
That's
there's
true.
something pouring out of the look. Is that must be dirt or something like that? That looks like it's like brown rivers of it just flowing down.
I mean, it
these
could be spice, man. Yeah,
could be
maybe
spice.
it's not
Definitely
yellow
could be
enough.
spice. Maybe a different form of spice on that planet. There's a high chance that this is, in fact, the same planet because of the apparel that this character with the yellow shirt is wearing. Just kind of resembles maybe that of what someone in that little village might be wearing.
Yeah, you see, there's a mining digger down there, so it's definitely a mine.
Right. Following shot, we get this. What is it, like a tunnel, like a shaft of some kind with that same character in the yellow shirt climbing into a very Ray-like person with a staff or something.
Low staff.
Yeah. Don't really know what to think of that one, but this all must be on the same location.
And then the infamous Senate.
Yes, the Imperial Senate, which has now been newly renovated after Yoda and Sidious's duel.
It's funny how they renovated it to be exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the only thing different about it is the floor has a giant Imperial logo on it now.
Yeah. Did the old floor have a Republic logo?
I can't remember, honestly. Like, yeah, I can't remember. I guess it would be in the Revenge of the Sith shot when they come out of the floor. I'm going to have to look back at that and find out. But no, it definitely looks like...
I got it open. No, there is no symbol down there. It's just like a kind of a generic looking floor pattern.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is definitely part of the new reformed look, I guess. And it does not look like Senate's in session. There's a lot of empty seats, at least just from what I'm looking at, unless maybe the people are just so small that I can't see them. But it doesn't look like anyone's sitting in those seats. Does it to you?
And then just the one, we want to call it hover chair floating around.
Yeah, there's a spotlight on the
Senate
one.
pod.
The Senate, yeah, the flying little pod. Yeah, it's got a spotlight on it, and it doesn't look like anyone's in it, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, just like chairs, 2 empty chairs.
The Emperor's not standing in his little platform either in the center.
His shell.
His shell, yeah.
Yeah.
His taco.
The Chancellor's taco.
Yeah,
It does look like a taco now you pointed out.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this following shot is connected or not. Because it looks like...
Yeah.
The guy who has the white suit in A New Hope, who's on the Death Star, he's ISB, isn't he? Isn't he the chief of the ISB?
Yeah, in the white suit, yeah. I think he is ISB. That's actually Admiral Yularen, who's become an ISB, higher up agent at that point in time. And it's worth noting, I do recognize the face of the actor playing this guy, and I can't quite pin the name of him. But I've seen him before in something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't recognize him.
I've definitely seen him before. I can't quite pin it. But anyway, he does...
You can figure out his rank. He's got 5 blue squares.
5 blue squares. Okay, so that is... okay, on the reference I found, I actually it doesn't say. Oh, naval... Possibly a naval admiral? Or a security system major.
Okay, because 6 is lieutenant.
According to the Wikipedia, he is a security major. Or a stormtrooper major, I guess. So just an upper class officer.
It says, if it's A New Hope, it's a commander. So... Could be IT, could be part of the Navy. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I wonder what part he has to play.
But I guess they changed it after New Hope, so this one might not be accurate.
You got a shot of some Imperial officers taking a drink from a world-class thermos. And it looks like they could be aboard the Star Destroyer that maybe entered the atmosphere for that planet. It's possible maybe all this is
that's
connected.
very Star Destroyer-ish.
Yeah. The hexagonal doorway. That's very Star Destroyer-ish. The low ceiling. And then we get a shot of a kid in some boots. Probably one of the natives from that planet that we saw.
Yellow shirt. It's the same kid that was in the mine.
That's right. This must be what I suspect to be maybe a young Cassian Andor.
Yeah, I think that seems pretty likely. If he's on this much of an adventure, it seems likely that this is him when he's younger.
And it looks like he's snuck into an Imperial facility or a ship or maybe even a base. Maybe I would imagine that it's actually the Empire's mining facility that he sneaks into. And it lines up with, I got the closed captions on, and it says it lines up with a quote that you hear him say at some point in the show, and it reads, "They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house." And it's really, really cool because the following shot is actually him dressed as an Imperial officer, lined up, in duty, ready to do something. So this person in the yellow shirt must be him. And it must be him kind of from a younger age. Possibly the Empire takes over his world. He gets inducted into the Empire's naval resources or something, goes to the academy, much like someone like Luke might.
So you think he signed up? He actually trained as an Imperial?
I think what we're looking at is potentially the story of Luke Skywalker if he'd gone to the Empire and still became a good guy, because Cassian Andor is a good guy. He just doesn't, he doesn't know the ways of the Force, but it looks like he joins the Empire and then defects, much like a Wedge Antilles or
I think there's a lot of the rebels were people who defected from the Imperials.
Right. Yeah, and in the Star Wars Rebels show, we see that happen a lot. There's a lot of people that end up joining the rebellion because of what Hera and the crew of the Ghost does for those people, and whether they're Imperials or not. I mean, even Agent Callus.
Yeah, even Callus. That's right. Yeah, because I think a lot of Imperials they're on the ground, so they actually see a lot of the cruelty that's inflicted on the civilians.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's they're dark times.
So, but it is possible that he is just in uniform disguised as well in this shot.
Yeah, that's also a possibility because he is a spy. So maybe that is the case. But I don't know. A guy like Cassian Andor, I can definitely see him working for the Empire and then defecting, because later on in the trailer we get the hint that that's actually happening when an older man approaches him asking him to if he wants to do something real with his life. So
that's true. It's like I'm getting some kind of like Jason Bourne feelings from this so far, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, the intensity is amazing.
Yeah, I hope they essentially make him into like a really serious spy.
Yeah,
people like maybe like the modern day Bond movies.
Right.
Something like that would be cool.
From the creators of Rogue One, and a character named Luthen says, "Cassian Andor, the Empire's choking us so slowly, we're starting not to notice." And there's a really interesting shot.
I think those are clones in the background.
Yes, I was just about to say, really interesting shot of clone troopers, marching through.
Those are Phase 2 clones.
They are, and they did show up in the first Andor sizzle reel, like the teaser.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a slight chance that maybe what we're gonna see with a young Cassian Andor is that flashback will take place really closely to the Bad Batch, and it makes me think maybe in Bad Batch season 2 we could even have a crossover there. I mean, I know we've seen a younger Fennec Shand in from Book of Boba and Mandalorian. They threw here Dave Filoni threw her in Bad Batch, and it was quite successful. So I wouldn't be surprised if they threw like a young Andor in with the Bad Batch crossover kind of thing. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I can see that, because then you're just hitting multiple audiences too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of tying the universe together a bit more.
So this is actually making me think now with these clones, if flashback or if there's time jump or whatever, we might actually get to see more of the transition from the clone troopers into the stormtroopers.
Yeah, very likely.
That's a big transition in the Empire, because they basically just let all the clones go by the end of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, from Kenobi.
I'm not sure how long.
I mean,
the storm. And clones actually wear stormtrooper armor if they just get let go before that even happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Kenobi takes place square in the middle between episode 3 and 4, and that's 10 years after episode 3, 9 years or so before episode 4. And we see a 501st clone trooper on the city streets of that Nar Shaddaa looking city planet, who is pretty much homeless, and he tosses him a credit or two. And, it's clear that the clones have not been active for a while, right? And the Bad Batch takes place maybe, season 1 started off out of the gate, overlapping with Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and then moving forward from there. So, I suspect by the end of the Bad Batch show, and we've already seen like the story threads in season 1 for wanting to phase out the clones in favor of volunteers, and it's interesting that we'll see the transition a lot more closely in that show. But the fact that these flashbacks take place in the same time frame is quite fascinating. This what we're looking at here with the clones marching into this kind of innocent town full of people on a planet that's very primitive and probably far away from the core worlds. Is probably a planet that no one cared to take over in the Clone Wars, but now the Empire is everywhere, right? So they're sending reinforcements left and right, just trying to spread as wide as possible.
And as we saw in Rebels, they'll show up and they'll make a deal with some leader to basically just pay him off, and then they'll show up and just start harvesting all the planet's resources.
Yeah, like Lothal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just strip the planet and then just leave the people like they're just stranded, essentially.
Totally, yeah. We saw it happen with Lothal. That was a big story arc in Star Wars Rebels, and yeah, I mean, this is exactly what looks like maybe happening to this planet as well, wherever it is. Empire comes in, right? Yeah, Empire comes in, starts building up a giant mine, digging holes in their planet, and a young Cassian Andor finds his way into a Imperial base of some kind, and I guess maybe gets caught or maybe gets taken, and maybe he volunteers. I don't know, and decides to work with this gargantuan force of an army. We get a cool shot of the Death Troopers. They make their return. And a woman who's looks to be an officer. Isn't that weird?
Shot to shot, going from clone troopers to Death Troopers.
It is kind of trippy, yeah. Because and you can see in the background over that Death Trooper's shoulder there is a stormtrooper back there. So this is a scene that kind of takes place further on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of weird. It's kind of cut like this in a trailer where nothing's supposed to really give anything away. It is tricky, but very cool to see. And okay, we got a following shot of a woman who's being arrested in the city streets of some kind, and it looks
like a local police officer or something behind her.
Yeah,
or maybe a bounty hunter.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Could be ISB, an ISB agent. We get a shot of what looks like a junk world, with a ship being disassembled.
Yeah, I wondered if that's the corner of like a Republic, like
it definitely
Benedictor
could be.
Class Star Destroyer.
Definitely could be. We've seen what's happened to those ships in Jedi Fallen Order as well as the Bad Batch, with a planet called Braca, and planet's it's like a graveyard for ships. They just kind of get sent there to be dismantled and recycled or turned into scrap metal kind of thing. So what we're looking at is kind of the side or a giant piece of a ship just being hauled right off. And then we get the quote, "What I'm asking is this: wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?" And we get a shot of Cassian Andor looking over that graveyard of ships on the same planet with a bag over his shoulder, starts walking towards camera past a metal worker who's sawing something off. So I think you're right in that sense. It must be some sort of old Republic ship or something like that.
Yeah, that's what my guess is. I recognize the the older gentleman who looks like he's talking to Cassian. Isn't he from Rogue One?
You know, I don't think he's not showed up before in Star Wars, but he plays Bill Turner in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't recognize him without a bunch of barnacles on his face.
Yeah, yeah. So he's actually still in Skarsgård. He's been in a number of very you know, very big titles. He also played the crazy doctor in Thor, the astronomer guy. Dr. Selvig. Dr. Selvig. He was also, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Bootstrap Bill in Dead Man's Chest and at World's End. He was in... Yeah, he's been in a few things. True Noble, the TV show that came out in 2019, he was in that as well. So yeah, the guy's been around.
Just a familiar British face, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, and Dune, of course. He was the Baron in Dune.
Oh shoot, that's right.
Yeah. So that's where we recognize him from. So it looks like he's coming to the Star Wars universe, and
yeah,
he's a very intense guy. I mean, anytime the actor delivers lines, it's like, dang.
He looks like such a rebel though, like a rebel leader.
He does.
Like,
yeah.
He just blends in so well.
Yeah, he really fits the part. We get a close-up shot of Cassian Andor looking out what looks like a windshield in a ship. Streaming September 21st. Okay, what there? Okay, so Skarsgård's character, Luthen, I think his name is, walks down the landing ramp of a ship, and if we look at the next shot, what do you think that ship looks like?
It looks like it's Carillion made, like some sort of inspired by the Falcon kind of ship, right?
Okay, you know what it looks like to me? It looks so much like the Rogue Shadow from Force Unleashed.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, look up a picture of
which
the Rogue
was
Shadow.
like, I remember it. Yeah, it's a basically TIE fighter that's been turned into a cargo ship.
Yeah, it looks almost identical, man. Like it's almost one for one. It's kind of
Rogue
nuts.
Shadow has like that one massive panel on the side, right? The
Rogue, yeah, it's got one on the one side and then two on the other side. So it's not like completely identical, but just where the cockpit's situated, and then what looks like a wing thing on one side, then I don't know what's on the other side, but it looks very, very close. And it also looks like a weird, I don't know, it does have some Imperial vibes that it's giving me, but I could totally see it being a Corellian ship of some kind as well.
I'm just judging that based on the cockpit design.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though. I really like this design a lot.
It's a sweet looking ship, yeah. And then
I think we might see it a little later on flying. It was hard to tell if it was exactly the same ship or not.
Right. So it looks like he flips up his hood. Then we get a aerial view of some farmland. And
okay. I just jumped ahead. It's got to be the same ship. You can see it at 1 minute 43 seconds.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is the same ship. Yeah, you're right.
It's got turbo lasers that pop out of the top there.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Luthen, I need all the heroes I can get. We get an aerial shot of some farmland, and then we get what's his face from Rogue One? He's one of the partisans. He's the guy that sounds like, cool, you know.
You do that really well.
Thanks. you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, and it looks like he's got a cycler rifle of some sort.
Yeah. He's the guy that's all masked up in that triangle mask with the rifle. Yeah, and then it looks like we got
another cool
X-wing
alien design.
Yeah, looks like there's an X-wing down there in the pit, and it's very likely that this is kind of this is probably Saw Gerrera's base at the time.
Or Saw Gerrera and his boys are all showing up
Yeah.
at the rebel base.
Yeah, yeah, that's also possible. We get a shot of
Black X-wings.
yeah, yeah. That must be what Saw Gerrera's been using for his rebel cell.
That makes sense.
Black like Saw's heart. Am I right? We get a shot of a bunch of what I assume is Saw's partisans raising their guns at somebody, and it looks like it's
Bill Turner.
Yeah, it looks like it's Bill Turner over there in the corner.
I guess he goes by Luthen.
Yeah, Luthen. Yeah, and Saw Gerrera replies to him, "Let's call it. We'll call it." No, he says, "Let's call it war." Yeah. The suspense. Let's call it war.
He's so intense, man, all the time.
He is.
Oh, then they got the Mud Trooper suits that they made Solo wear, except these ones are black.
Yeah, the Mud Trooper suits. Yeah, for the mud skirmishes. Looks like they're ready for a riot in the streets, and some citizen just freaking charges right into them. Some bald guy in a hoodie.
Yeah, things are heating up.
Okay, these are pretty sweet. These look like Imperial lat gunships.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look like laddies, but they've been like the next generation.
Yeah, they were so cool looking. They look just Imperial dropship style, you know, with a massive turret on the front.
I think we've seen these in the previous trailer. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did see them in the previous trailer.
Okay, I thought so.
We have a quote that comes up on screen from a character by the name of Sergeant Linus Mosk, and he says, "There's fermenting out there, sir." And it looks like we got a shot of somebody, a new cast member by the looks of it. Kind of gives me some Galen or Merrick, Force Unleashed vibes. Sam Witwer. It kind of gives me those kind of vibes, but it can't be him. Otherwise, they would just use Sam Witwer. Looks like an Imperial officer or a spy or something, though. Yeah.
It's the eyes. He's got the same eyes.
He's got a piercing look to the eyes, yeah.
Sergeant Linus Mosk.
We get a shot of Cassian Andor running through a cave tunnel with a torch of some kind, like a little light. And then a shot of an Imperial officer again. Pockets of fermenting. And we get some officers that unload off of the Imperial dropship and approach a group of workers.
That guy's might be Dave Filoni right there. That's not him. It's really funny though. Dave just started inserting himself in like random scenes.
Although the guy with the dish hat, those hats remind me of Embo's hat. I don't know what it is about them. Dish hat. Like, what's that gonna do if something falls on your head? You're wearing a bowl, like.
It might ricochet off. You never know.
Who's that guy in the back? He looks like a monkey.
Well, there was an alien race that was kind of monkey inspired in Rogue One. He was the guy. He was like using the turrets on the side of the. Was it the V-wing? I'm sure the name of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. This guy looks a little different. He's got like more of a kind of wrinkled face to him. No fur or anything like that. It's just the face itself is like very kind of ape-like. We get a shot of what I assume is Coruscant and a group of some elevators kind of sliding back and forth along this giant elevator mechanism on the building. One of them's descending.
Deidre. There's a name there. Deidre?
Is that who says something in the shot?
Yeah, so Deidre Miro. You're in my net.
Elevators coming down. That shot was actually in the first teaser, I believe, as well. And we got
a New quote that we got to start using on the podcast. Are you a fish? Or are you a thief?
What will they do when you catch one?
What will you
What
do
will you
when
do
they fish you?
when they fry one? What will you choose to eat at
My
our fishery? I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore.
yeah, I can tell you kind of trailed off there.
That we got a shot of the Lambda class shuttle coming in.
Man, that's so cool.
It's such a sweet looking shot. I mean, we got distant. It was like nighttime shot with all the lights in the background. It looks really cool. Clearly on kind of a mining-ish world. It's kind of given away by the shuttle next to it, which we saw in Rogue One, and those things were used for transport of the Kyber crystal that they were mining on Jeddah City, on Jeddah in the Holy City, and those orange containers beneath that giant black shuttle there that you can see are usually responsible for carrying that material. So whatever that they're mining on this planet,
that being said,
maybe it's similar.
They pick up and they drop off what is essentially cargo ship containers, right? So they could be hauling anything.
They could be hauling anything. Yeah, that's true. The emphasis on mining, though, I mean, and the connection to Rogue One, I would not be surprised if they were looking for Kyber. Like, it's definitely a possibility that they're setting up the plot connection there. Where we get another shot of an Imperial officer, this time with 3 bars of blue in front of a dude with 2 bars in gray walking down a very white hallway.
Yeah, it could be Camino.
It could be, because Imperial facilities don't normally have that very white aesthetic to it. And we did see a very similar looking room earlier with that guy sitting at the desk. Which could be the same facility, however brief it was, but that's just my guess. We get a shot, very curiously, of the same officer in a very different environment with a hologram showing off some sort of plaza or something, some mining base, it looks like. And I don't know, this is just my thought, but maybe it's possible that these characters could be planning the mining facility that they end up setting on top of Andor's planet. You know, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right, then.
They're definitely up to building something, though.
Yeah. All right, we got a shot of Cassian Andor next to a girl.
There's a line.
Who looks like maybe the one that gets captured in the streets. That could be her. And then you see that's what I think the same girl who gets arrested in the streets in handcuffs. And then that Imperial officer. Are you a fish or a thief? We go to a shot of the girl again, all bloodied up, possibly being hit in the head by the butt of a rifle or something by an Imperial officer. And then we get a shot of someone slipping on a ring of some kind.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of Bond gadgets from the ring.
Yeah, and this is Luthen. So, and he's in a very different, he's got his hair combed back. He's wearing some robes. I mean, I've got a feeling maybe Luthen is actually a senator or something like that.
Maybe.
Luthen
Or is
Rail.
it just undercover?
Yeah, Luthen Rail. There is already a Wikipedia page set up for him. And
he shows up again in the next shot, and you're right, he does look very senator-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, he's giving me major senator vibes. He could be one of the people helping the early rebellion. And, that's apparent seeing he's speaking to Saw Gerrera. But,
in this scene, he's actually speaking with Mon Mothma.
Right, so...
He's probably on Coruscant.
He's a guy that, I guess, of many faces then. one of those senators that we're going to see a lot more of through the course of the show, including Mon Mothma. There's a character named Clea that looks like she shows up. She says, "You're slipping," to Luthen, who's wearing a different costume. And then you snap to the following shot where that same woman and Luthen in different attire, including Luthen's red robes that he was putting on when he slipped on that ring, is in a very decorated room with a lot of statues and relics or something. And they look like they're greeting somebody, which happens to be Mon Mothma coming through the doors of the apartment. Looks like this could be on Coruscant. Flashback to Luthen saying, "I'm not slipping." And we get a shot of him in his ship, which looks very, very cool.
Is it him? It's hard to tell who that is.
It is him, yeah. The
hair's
following shot
too
is
blonde.
him in the seat, yeah.
Okay, that ship's pretty cool though.
Oh,
Seeing
it's
from
so
the
cool,
interior,
yeah.
I like that cockpit a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Get a sweet shot of the turret launching out the top. And then that turret fighting against a TIE bomber, it looks like, coming towards him, along with 3 TIE fighters, and a very cool Imperial ship. Now, Bryce isn't here to kind of share this, but he was sending us some images from early Star Wars movies that had been done up for different Imperial warships and such, and one of the designs looks very close to this ship that looks like nothing ever gets thrown away. Now, we've talked about Ralph McQuarrie quite a few times and his influence over a lot of Star Wars, and this just
in
seems
this
to be
case
one of those
I
things.
think that design wasn't by Ralph.
No, yeah, maybe not. But I mean, things just tend to stick around, and it's funny that that a design, even not used by Ralph McQuarrie, is just used in such a, it's like, oh, we need a new ship that does this or has that, and it's like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm just kind of curious as to what it does. I mean, I remember seeing a weird Star Destroyer in Rebels with those spheres on it, and those were able to kind of suck ships out of hyperspace.
Yeah, it had a gravity well. That's the one I was thinking about. Was they have that Star Destroyer that can pull ships out of hyperspace.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if it's something along those lines, or maybe this one is dishes, right? So maybe they can pick up sound from like super far away or something.
Yeah, I wonder.
Like you could buy like those hands like dishes with the headphones. You can like, listen to people across the street.
Yeah.
But they're doing it like one planet over.
Right. Following shot, we get what looks like a speeder car pulling up and away through the streets of Coruscant, and a following shot of that speeder, or even just an aerial shot of the city in what looks like a different district. I mean, we've never seen this kind of detail added to the buildings before, so I just assume that it's Coruscant, but it could be somewhere else. It's possible that it could be even. There's a slight chance that it could even be from Mon Mothma's homeworld of Chandrila.
Yeah, this feels very like grungy compared to what we've seen of Coruscant from the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
This almost feels more like New York or Chicago or something.
Yeah, that building. Yeah, totally. It looks like it's giving me some Chrysler building vibes. Or
exactly.
Yeah.
This looks more like a scene from Batman than Star Wars.
Right. Yeah. It looks. Yeah. If you were to like totally make this like throw a day for night filter on that frame there, it could almost look very Gotham-y. You just remove 100%. All the flying cars, and it looks very Gotham-y almost. So I don't know. It could be Chandrila. I mean, Mon Mothma is going to be a key player in this show, as she has been in the Rebellion for so long now, and it's so great to see Genevieve O'Reilly, reprise the role again after being, playing the character in Rogue One, but her very first Star Wars appearance was actually in Episode 3, which all of that just ended up getting cut because the movie was just too long. So I mean, Chandrilla's been in the novels and everything. It's played a key part in the New Republic, And being the senator of Chandrila, it's possible that we might finally see Chandrila on screen for the first time. Then we get a shot of her.
Have we seen Chandrila in any of the animated series?
No, I don't believe so.
Just novels.
Just in the novels, yeah.
Okay.
We get a following shot of her at the stand in the Imperial Senate. And
just the prequel vibes.
The prequel vibes, yeah, absolutely. But, being the Imperial Senate now, it's just, it's almost a welcome sight because we've only ever heard of the Imperial Senate. We've never really seen a whole lot of it take place, right? So, and then she says, as long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing. And, yeah, very interesting. There's a shot of a guy kind of smirking her way, I guess. Looks like a...
Take Colma?
Looks like another senator. Looks like she's at a senatorial party, gathering of some kind. And she's sitting at the table with some older fellow.
Yeah, I think that guy's name is Take Colma. It shows up in the next shot there.
Take Colma, yeah.
Subtitles.
Right. And he says, what are you really doing? And maybe she's trying to recruit other senators to her cause. And we get a really cool shot of her in a living room on a giant couch with some golden doors closing in on the room that she's in. Okay, sweet shot of death troopers coming into a building. I guess we're back at that sequence that we saw earlier with that officer walking through the city streets with those death troopers. And a shot of an older woman crying.
Is that... I was wondering, is that old Mon Mothma, or is it a different woman?
No, this is...
Because the hair is similar.
This is a different character completely. I just don't know who it is, yeah.
And there's some sort of droid.
Yeah, the red garbage can droid.
Yeah.
This droid was actually on display recently at, I want to say, Comic-Con. And the droid's name is B2EMOD. And I'm not entirely sure what the nickname for that droid is going to be, but that's his name.
Maybe they'll call him Trashy.
Trashy? Oh, that's something Ezra would say.
He's garbage can shaped.
He names Geonosians Click Clack and
that's right.
droid's Garbagey.
Garbagey. Hey, Trashy.
Hey, trash can. Bomb goes off in the streets. We can see people flying around. Witness the beginning.
I think those are troopers.
Yeah, maybe.
No, just some sort of soldiers. Never mind.
And then we get Clea saying, "This is what revolution looks like." She's if that is Clea walking down the hallway, it looks like it almost could be an airport bridge tunnel, something. And a close up of her looking fairly concerned at somebody as she's speaking. She actually kind of has some younger Leia vibes about her. You getting young Leia vibes about her?
Or Jin?
Yeah.
Just independent rebel ladies.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just like her makeup and hair, the way it's done, just kind of gives me some Leia vibes, but yeah.
Yeah, she does remind me of Leia in that regard. She does look like her face shape is kind of Leia-esque.
Yeah. Okay, Cassian Andor flipping a switch on a wall as an Imperial officer in some sort of base or a ship or something, because the following shot is this, what is it, like a speeder of some kind with 4 engines on the back firing up, and then the following shot of that thing flying down a subway tunnel.
Maybe it's a train.
Yeah, some sort of underground train or something. Okay, we get a shot of him being fired at by people in a warehouse. You can't really see who's firing at him, but, red blaster bullets could be stormtroopers. of rebellion. They've done a really great job at de-aging him, or at least making him look younger because he's all shaved, whereas in Rogue One, he's got the full beard going on.
Yeah.
So they've certainly lightened him up a bit, yeah.
I think they smoothed his skin around his beard line, so his beard isn't as full.
Yeah. That looks like it. And he looks like he's in some sort of like older house or something. I don't know. This could be. He says, "I'm tired of losing." And we get a shot of some Imperial troopers or something. Actually, it could be rebels. Again, this is a spy movie, so what we're looking at, a lot of the Imperials could actually be rebels. They're running along the bridge. It looks like a dam, and
like some sort of dam.
They're going full Tenet style down the wall of the dam, kind of rappelling into the distance below. And we get a shot of this glass windowed bridge, which a bunch of people in white costumes jogging inside. And
it's like from the movie The Island.
Yeah.
That could these are those Imperial doctors.
Yeah, it was, that all those people in the white jumpsuits running down that hall, that could be an Imperial Academy that we're seeing.
Oh, maybe.
Because we see the next shot in Cassian Andor in a white jumpsuit as well, slamming something against the wall. And then the following shot of some Imperial officers once again being blown up.
Oh, he's wearing the same suit that we see everyone wearing in the previous shot.
Yeah, that's
the white with the orange.
That's what makes me think maybe it's Academy. I don't know. Okay, who's this old guy with the syringe?
Doesn't he look like he might be related to Maz Kanata?
He does kind of, yeah, with his eye implants
and the orange skin.
He's got a nice set of beats on his ears. I mean,
just always rocking out, and it looks like, because he's got 4 arms. It looks like there's a guy just standing behind him and like giving him a second pair of hands.
Yeah.
Like that old, like really like cheesy thing you can do, right? Like be someone else's arms.
So the one thing that I think of when I see this syringe is the Clone Wars arc, when a very obscure thing we've never seen before and never seen again, when Obi-Wan Kenobi uses the syringe in an arc in which he turns into Rako Hardeen. He takes the face of a bounty hunter. The perfect utility for a spy who's trying to hide their identity is to maybe become someone else physically, literally. What we're seeing here is a younger guy. It doesn't look like Cassian Andor, but maybe it's him at a slightly older age. Who knows? Being looked over by a woman in blonde hair. It looks like the injection is kind of going into him. And maybe it's supposed to change his appearance.
Cool.
I don't know.
Maybe. I see orange hair. Is that Cal Kestis?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I could be wrong. Maybe it's just adrenaline. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be anything.
But I don't know. This is kind of, it's getting my 007 jam on, right? I'm thinking about anything that could be like very spy-ish.
That'd be cool. Yeah, if they did that instead of like the old school Mission Impossible, they wear the rubber masks.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The Mission Impossible with the masks. Yeah. Star Wars version of that. We get a shot of someone in very dark hair with a green jacket throwing something. Looks like it could be an explosive.
I think that's what it looks like if you follow the next shot.
Yeah.
It could be edited.
The next shot, it looks like it could be the same sequence where that dude in the hoodie charges into the riot shield guys. Looks like it could be the same place, same event. Following shot, stormtrooper firing at the blaster. And then it looks like Cassian Andor running in the rain down a walkway.
It's got to be on that dam.
Yeah, it could be at that dam site. It also could potentially be at that. I know it wasn't raining in that shot that we saw with the Lambda landing, but maybe it's that same place as well. I don't really know. And then we get a shot of a girl with a staff over her shoulder, making her way through the forest. And I don't know what it is about the follow-up shot with that ship flying through the smoke trails like that, but the colors and the atmosphere and everything give me major Star Trek Beyond vibes.
Yeah, when the Enterprise is like crashing in the atmosphere.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet though. Like it looks like it's a giant. It looks like there was a giant explosion or something, because like all these little projectiles trailing smoke are way ahead of that ship, right? And
projectiles.
Yeah,
Or
there's
missiles or
all
something?
these smoke trails or something. Yeah, and I don't know, the way that they're kind of being
Something blew up.
pulled down to the planet gravitationally. It looks like something blew up. Yeah.
It looks like it's traveling across the atmosphere, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks level. Like the cloud line looks like you're looking along the horizon.
Yeah. That's true. That's true as well. Yeah. Well, if those are missiles, that's a lot of missiles.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And we've never seen missiles in Star Wars. We have proton torpedoes. They don't leave trails.
Following shot of the TIE fighters shooting at what looks like Cassian Andor in that ship. All sweaty behind the cockpit controls. And then we get the final Star Wars Andor title card, 3-episode premiere, streaming September 21st on Disney Plus, and that is the full trailer. What do you think of this like 3-episode premiere? I mean, like it was supposed to be 2, and then the show got delayed, and now we're getting a 3-episode premiere, which pretty sweet. I mean, I know these episodes are supposed to be a little longer, I think, and the season's going to be really short.
Probably going to be 3 hours on the first day. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty cool, but man, I mean, like, what do you think of that trailer? Just like as a whole, like I got pretty amped up about it, but
yeah, I would say so. I don't know if it was better than the last trailer. I think they were both like equally hype, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the little drummer boy at the beginning of the first one.
Yeah. The little drummer boy. That's Cassian Andor for all we know. I don't know.
No.
You mean the older guy doing the
there's like the big
clanging
guy.
The little drummer.
What I call him?
Celebrimbor.
I used to call. That's the Celebrimbor. That's right.
That's
He's
right,
got the big hammers.
Yeah.
He's in that tower.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Man, I'm super stoked for this show. I mean, I'm a big fan of spy movies, Spy Kids, Mission Impossible, 007.
Let's hope it's more 007 and what's that other one?
Spy Kids
earlier. No, and less like Spy Kids.
What more like Agent Cody Banks?
Oh gosh, if he has a skateboard with a rocket on it, I'm gonna be upset.
That's full on Treasure Planet style. Yeah, they got to save it for that one. Yeah.
No, I want it to be Bourne. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, very Jason
I want it to be
Bourne.
like the Bourne series, where it's just really gritty and realistic, but you also kind of don't entirely know what's going on until the end.
Yeah. Yeah,
chaotic.
I love the feeling, the grittiness, the dark spy kind of vibes about the show. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's also the first show since Mandalorian that has not been relied on for the stagecraft technology. They've been using massive sets for these things. And
really?
Yeah, they've talked about it like extensively in the Vanity Fair, and it's been really, really cool to see that they've approached this from the standpoint of a theatrical movie rather than a small Disney Plus show. So I assume like the feeling that we get is going to be a lot more grand, a lot more theatrical than possibly that of the other shows that we've seen before. because I know that there's been a few times where I've mentioned that the scale of a certain series or episode or whatever doesn't quite feel like it's as grand as it could be, and maybe it's just due to the smaller soundstage that they have to use within the confines of like a dome, right?
Right.
But
yeah, it's possible.
In
I'm not
open
sure on that
environments
one.
like this, I mean, you know, all bets are off. Like, they can make giant sets, and it was about a year ago they kind of teased us with the Andor sizzle reel of they gave us a couple shots of these big environment sets that they made, and it's actually been really exciting to see this you know, people anticipate this show, and you know, I think we're gonna get a lot of cool stuff that happens with the story. So
It's gonna be sweet. But like part of that I think might be because this is spinning off of a movie that's already happened. They might still have set pieces around from Rogue One.
yeah, that's very
So they
likely.
can save
Yeah,
they can save time on a TV budget by recycling some of that stuff.
right. Well, any last minute things you want to bring up before we wrap it up here?
Just looking forward to it, and end of September can't come soon enough.
Awesome. Well, we'll be sitting down together and of course watching these and you know, chatting with the other members of the Escape Pod, and trying to make sense of all this stuff as much as possible, and doing our normal biz. So we will catch you in the next one.
We'll see you out there. Keep flying.
All right, and everyone at home, thank you for tuning into the show. It's been quite the ride, and for those of you who've been sticking with us over the last couple weeks, it's been a bit of a break on the socials, as I mentioned in well, one of the tweets. If you follow our Twitter, SW Escape Podcast, and our Instagram at SW Escape Podcast. You can always shoot us an email, swescapepodcast@gmail.com. Link to the voicemails in the description, and if you would like to prepare as much as possible for Andor around the corner, make sure you check out our What Happened episode on Saw Gerrera, which also recently just dropped. So, that being said, may the Force be with you, and we'll see you in the next one.